those things, and perhaps you could make sure that to give yourself the best opportunity to hear what's said today, and also those around you, just to try to give me as much of your attention, or at least pretend. Again, like we always say, nobody has the right to interfere with somebody else's opportunity to hear or learn, and that's when you enter a group this large, that's always one of the challenges, so please be respectful of those around you. We're going to get right into it. Some of these things are, you may have heard some of this already from some of your staff, or some of your teachers. We're going to make sure, one of our efforts is to make sure that everybody hears the same thing, and that we are all trying to be as consistent as possible, so that it's easier for you guys to know what the expectations are. So in one period, it's, you're not getting away with something, next period you're getting detention for it, and it's kind of confusing. So as a staff, we spent some time in these pre-work days here trying to come up with some solutions to help us and help you be a little bit more consistent. A lot of these, you'll see a theme kind of developing here as we move through these. The first one, you're talking about cell phones, and if you're a handbook person and you like to know your rights and responsibilities, this happens to be on page 22. And again, what's allowed is use for your cell phones or electronic devices during passing periods or lunchtime, or anything else that a teacher or a staff member might authorize. So maybe sometimes teachers use your phones for activities in the classroom. That means that they've authorized that use. So basically anything else would be considered unauthorized. One of the most common ones is someone, they leave the classroom and they're in the hallway during the class period, and they say, well, I'm in the hallway, I can use my phone. No, it's always been this way, at least for about 9 years, but I can speak of, that you can use your cell phone during the passing periods, and you can use it at lunch. And anything else other than what is authorized would be not authorized. So what happens the first time is this, we will take it away, and it's logged, so we're going to start tracking these things. That's the theme. So those of you that like to try to violate things in every period and try to get away with it, the second time that your parent or guardian has to come to school and pick it up, and the third time you'll probably get an office referral, very likely. So, and I will say in our experience in the office, most of the time when we call a parent and tell them that it's the second or third or fourth time, the majority of their response is, keep it, I'll pick it up next week. So if you really are connected to your electronic device, you probably ought to use it in the appropriate manner. So the theme will become here that we're going to use PowerSchool and try to log more information. So that way, first hour, if Mr. Benson sees you with your phone, and then third hour, Mr. Browning sees you with your phone, and sixth hour, Ms. Penner sees you with your phone because you just can't keep your hands off the darn thing. Okay, then those things again it accumulates and it becomes a nuisance behavior. And from our handbook, that would be something that could lead to an office referral. So we're trying to be more consistent to help you know what the expectations are. Next one would be passes. Because when you're in the hallway, you must have something that's a pass. They're in the back of your student planners is actually a sheet that says hallway pass. Many of your teachers have created different things. Might be on a lanyard, might be a 2x4 or something like that. They created something that is their hallway pass. You need to have something with you when you're in the hallway. Once again, if you're stopped by somebody, where's your pass? You don't have it. That will be logged, and it can again. You can see that the tracking could end up causing you more problems. So what we're doing here is we're really giving you a clear picture of what the expectation is, and then you're going to be empowered with the choice of how you handle that. Okay, so you know now that you need a pass. So when you don't have one, that means you're making that choice, and if it's multiple times, that's when consequences come in, because with the choice comes consequences. And consequences aren't always negative. Sometimes only if that's what your choice ends up being. What's allowed? Clear water and clear bottle. Clear water. So we're not going to start getting into the mix. What can I mix in water that changes its color and makes it taste different? Because then that's pretty much like not clear water. So that's when you can have those all day long, assuming you can handle it properly. It doesn't mean that if you're throwing your water bottle across the room, the teacher still can't take that away from you. Okay, so it's not a born right that you can have it wherever you go. But that's the intent, is to let you have water when you need it, in a clear bottle, and as long as you can handle that properly, then there won't be any issues. There are times in classrooms if that's not appropriate, then those things can be put away. Again, any other food or drink, we see it, we take it, we throw it. That's the simple factor there. And again, you can see it's logged, and it could lead to further consequences if we continue to make bad choices. Public display of affection, known as PDA. let you get your nervous laughter out here. All right, now, I'm certain that we won't ever have this happen this year because we know, again, respectful people don't display their affection publicly in an inappropriate manner because that's just not what young adults would do. However, in the event, so you can see, how do we define what's acceptable in a school? Well, this is pretty much it. I don't know how far back you can see or not. But you're allowed to hold hands. Other physical contact judged to be excessive affection that can make others uncomfortable can be deemed inappropriate. Okay? Well, who gets to decide that? Well, basically if somebody that's offended by it, and everybody may have different levels of being offended, so that just would mean that maybe we shouldn't, hold hands. That's good enough. Okay, we don't need to have any of the rest of it. So you don't see kissing is allowed. You don't see other types of things as allowed. So again, same kind of procedure. We will address it. It will be logged, and if we have a consistent problem, you'll have consequences at the end. So again, perhaps you could make the decision to not be hanging all over one another. Bags, backpacks, purses, or other carrying apparatus. You get all kinds of things. And you guys are pretty creative. I'll give you credit. But again, this goes a long ways back to school safety, but also we've got some pretty full rooms. We've got pretty high enrollment right now. We don't really have room. And for some reason, in the last 5 to 6 years, the backpacks went from carrying a book or two to it's like a mobile locker. And some of you turn sideways and you're 4 times wider sideways than you are when you walk straight forward. Okay? That could be, you've seen our hallways in passing time, it's a little crazy. So you don't even carry stuff you need for class, leave the rest of it in your locker. Okay? No bags, no backpacks. You can see what happens here. We're going to send you back with it. And again, if it continues to be a problem, then again, you have the empowerment to make good choices. If you don't, we go another direction. Our other favorite, and we addressed this pretty aggressively a year ago, is dress code. And there are likely a good number of folks violating dress code today. We know. Why do we say mid-thigh? Everybody's thighs are different length. Okay? So mid-thigh is somewhere between your knee and your hip. That would be the middle of your thigh. So you kind of have that bone that sticks out in front of your hip, and you all have a kneecap. So you go halfway between, that's mid-thigh. That's where your shorts or skirts should be, is at or near mid-thigh. So we wouldn't, again, how do you define near? Well, if we can't even see mid from where your shorts stop, you're probably not long enough. Again, promoting alcohol, drugs, and tobacco. No headway. Some of these you think are pretty obvious, but I think there's probably at least a few. And what we're doing today, we're not logging these things today, but I've already had a few reminders. I'm sure several staff members have already pulled people aside. I even had a couple at open house on Tuesday that said, I hope you're not going to wear that the first day of school. And they knew it. They'd just like to see if they could get somebody to challenge them a little bit. But starting next week, we'll start taking this a little bit more seriously, and then that's when that logging will begin. Now that doesn't mean that we expect you to take advantage of that. It's not a free-for-all tomorrow. But we're just giving you the chance to understand what we're going to address today and tomorrow. This one, it's pretty easy on this one. It's always said in the sometimes we get a little bit free, especially in passing periods, with our tongue and think that it's okay to say anything because I'm not in anybody's class. And boy, again, once again, that's a social norm is not to walk around and swear. It just isn't a social norm. And as you're growing up, you've got to learn those social norms that, when you're in public places, that's just not an acceptable thing. Okay? So we just got to put that together a little bit, because that statement right there is exactly what it says in the handbook. Class change, I made this announcement a few times. You probably heard it. Hallways are a little loud, you might not. But today is reserved for class ads only, which means you have a hole in your schedule and you're not sure where to go. After school or tomorrow is for drop, change, or reorder. And again, I'm just going to let you know up front, same thing I said in the letter we sent home, you may not get to reorder this because you want to, because section size and availability are trump your personal bubble and having what you want in your life, okay? So just so you know that. On the class change, one of our responsibilities is to prepare you for life when you leave here. We hope that every one of you has a plan to get some kind of education beyond here, 2-year, 4-year, beyond 4-year. master's and doctorate level degrees. To do that, you have to take challenging classes, okay? I mean, it doesn't, the compass test, the test to get into a two-year school in the state of Nebraska is written, by the way, by the same company that writes the ACT. It's written very similarly. And a lot of the kids that take the compass test, where they come up short when they go to Southeast, they come up short in math and science. And when you're short in math and science, then when you go to Southeast or Metro, you take high school level math or science, but they're nice enough to charge you college credit. Okay? ACT is full of Algebra 2 level skill. NISA is full of Algebra 2 level skill. Okay? And so, you know, it's important that you challenge yourself and take classes that are going to prepare you for your future now, because this is your best opportunity to do it. So think about that a little bit when you're maybe not wanting to take all those challenging things. Okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about, you know, some of our performance and what some of our students have done. And like the last 25 years, the history of our ACT scores continues to climb in our school. And it's not because we're taking the easy way out. As a matter of fact, we completely try to not do that if we can. So guys, you know, again, you can see we all got these cute matching shirts on today to try to deliver that message, that positive message of what you're capable of. Okay? And, you know, we want to see the best version of you every day. That would be awesome. We know that's not going to happen because you know what? Not all of us as adults bring our best version of ourselves every day. That's human nature. And I'm telling you, to strive for that is really what we hope you will do. Again, this I can thing or anything, that's an attitude. Anybody that's been through leadership class in middle school knows that that's the choice between being a 95 and a 5, right? It's all about a choice of the attitude that you're going to pick on all those things that come at you and happen to you. So again, perhaps you can consider how you act toward others. Does it help them or hinder them to do their best performance? Shout them out. What results are important for you as a student? What results are important in a school? Football. Okay, what else? What's important? What results are important when you're in school?
Good grades.
Thank you. Good grades. What else? Okay, good positive social interaction. That's good. Anybody like to get a good ACT score? Your teachers might occasionally talk about something like NISA. Might have heard of that? Maybe? Okay, those things are all important. I'm going to share a little story with you. This is a story about the frog in the pot. You have a pot of water and you put a frog in just a regular old room temperature pot of water. That frog may not want to live there forever, but they'll adjust as long as you give them something to eat. They'll be fine, even though habitat might not be as large as they want, might not be quite as green or slimy, but as long as they got something to eat, it's the temperature they can handle, they're going to be good. However, if that pot of water is boiling, and you drop the frog in the pot of boiling water, that frog shoots right back out. Self-preservation, it's going to get away from that situation as fast as possible. Frogs aren't very bright, but they know the hot water when they feel it. Now, if you drop a frog into a room temperature pot of water, but you slowly turn up the heat, that frog has gotten comfortable, it just sits there. And eventually, you'll cook it and it'll perish. Now, what we're going to move into here, remember the expectation of our decorum, and those around you would like to probably be able to hear, is really, you know, you're the frog as a student, and the water is the culture of everybody else in here. It's the culture of the building. And even more importantly, the culture is built by your words and your actions. So think of it that way. What kind of culture? You know, we've got a whole bunch of new students. We want to have a special welcome today for our new 6th graders. Let's give them a round of applause. Welcome our new 6th graders. give our new students a good welcome. So here's the deal, folks. Every one of you has a role in creating a culture around here. And your words and your actions impact the relationships. That doesn't mean relationships isn't just about like boyfriend and girlfriend or husband and wife. That's just interactions between two people. And what kind of words are you delivering and actions are you delivering to those around you? And relationship impacts culture, and culture impacts results. That means that what you do every day. And once again, boy, wouldn't it be great if we all had the best version of ourselves every day? But we know we're not going to. But I'm telling you, your words matter, and you matter. How many of you remember Mike Smith that came and spoke to us last year? How many? Right now, turn and share with somebody what you remember about Mike Smith. You got 1 minute. Go. These were some of the questions that are up on the screen now that he challenged every one of you to think about when we left. And I remember, I didn't even have to really seek it out. Staff members would say the same thing. The amount of conversations that happened in the hallways and in the next period in class after Mike was here were really powerful. And it made an impact on a great number of you. And it really challenged you to think about those types of questions. And what you personally can do a little bit differently. Now today, I'm going to share Dawson's story. I'll tell you, okay? I'll just read this first. Dawson grew up in St. Paul and attended St. Paul Public School where he just completed the 7th grade. Dawson was active in football, basketball, golf, and trap shooting. He was also involved in FFA, played baritone in the band. He was a member of Trinity Lutheran Church in Walbach where he was baptized and confirmed. Dawson was a great singer and dancer and loved fishing, hunting, and farming. He was kind, polite, respectful, and hardworking young man. Dawson had a heart of gold. Dawson's mom is a cousin of Mrs. Craven and myself. And Dawson was like a frog. And St. Paul's is a community very similar to Ashland. And really, he had friends. You can see, or you heard, he's very involved in a lot of things. And he was good at those things. Good baseball player, good talented musician. Loved to get off the bus and go right out to hunt, fish, trap, whatever if you could catch it. Loved to do it. But Dalton's water, the heat just kept getting turned up. And again, it wasn't his enemies. It wasn't people that were outside of his group. It was his friends that would just say, just kidding. I was just joking. He laughed. I didn't think he took it seriously. He talked to his parents about it. He would confide in them to a point. Like a lot of you, he would tell his parents, don't worry about it. Especially boys, don't worry about it. I'm fine. And like probably a lot of your parents would do, most of in this town this size, we know the parents of the people that our kids hang out with. And so, when one particular, last July, Dawson was really upset. And so his mom, knowing some of these folks, she just made a phone call and said, hey, you know what? Dawson's not trying to get anybody in trouble. I'm not either. He just got really upset last night after an overnight stay. And I just wanted you guys to know, we're working with him on that, sharing his feelings and standing up and telling him to stop and that kind of thing. We just want you to know that, again, that water, the temperature's going up. Probably a lot of things your parents have done. And, that led to another way that words are delivered is through these kind of things, right? Because how easy is it to send words when you don't even have to look the person in the eye? You can tweet it. Well, I took the tweet down, even though 100 followers already saw it. Dawson got a text message. And Dawson took his own life. Dawson leaves behind his parents, Jess and Stacy, his sister Debbie, who's a senior, and his 2 brothers, Dalton and Damon. I'm telling you, people, your words matter. And so often, we categorize bullying and abuse and harassment as we find one person that is really different, dorky, ugly, fat, short, skinny, and we pick on that characteristic. But I'm telling you, it's that water that you live in the closest that can do the most damage. And I know even right now, some of you are sitting there thinking, well, that guy's my best friend. I know it doesn't bother him when I make those comments. But see, what you're not understanding is, you make that comment, he laughs it off. 700 people hear the same comment. And then third period, guess what? Same comment. Fourth period, same comment. Lunch, same comment. And what happens? You feel that temperature of that water rising a little bit? See, your words matter. So let's go back to Mike's questions. I don't have to read those to you. We want to see the best version of you each day. The best version of you is not dependent on tearing somebody else down. And the best version of you is not available if you're getting torn down. So think, ask yourself, who are you treating poorly? Whose temperature in their water are you turning up and they don't want it turned up? Who is your Dawson? We started the day talking about actions and empowerment and consequences. That stuff isn't that terribly important, really, is it? But it all goes to culture. Words affect relationships. Relationships affect culture. And Ashton Greenwood culture is you. And your teachers we're going to drive you for performance, and we all know how important our role in culture is too. And trust us, none of us get up in the morning and say, I'm going to be an absolute grump today, and I hope my 6 hours ready because I'm going to get after them. Words matter. So like with Smith a year ago, it's easy to get moved or challenged, you know, today, maybe even in a week. But let's, you know, if for nothing else, I really wanted to tell this story a year ago. Couldn't do it. So as you head back to your fourth hour, and your very abbreviated fourth hour here, I want you to, again, let's really lock in on what water you're affecting, who the frogs are around you, and how you can have a positive impact on the culture in this building. Thank you for your attention. Go forward now.